Hi everybody, this is Vicki from Island Yarn. Today's tutorial is super exciting. It's a thing I came up with. I'm so excited about it. It's a way to do a two-color Mobius cast on so that you can do brioche in a Mobius, which is really cool because brioche is reversible. And then sometimes you don't see the other side unless you flip it around and show everybody, which if you're wearing something out in public, you don't always just wave things around to show people the other side. So I think this is really cool. And honestly, I went through a lot of weird things to come up with it. And then it dawned on me the easiest possible way. So I hope you guys like this video and can do it and just watch it over and over again if you need to. It's based on Kat Bordy's just regular Mobius cast on. So if you don't know that yet, it's probably good to go check that out. I'll do a quick one as we go, just to sort of show you how the regular one works. But if you want to practice that first before you do the two color, that would be great. So if you've done a Mobius cast on, you know that right here is the cast on, right? And then the work grows from here out. And you have the half twist. It's not a full twist. A lot of people mistake it for if I just twist the yarn on my needle. That's a whole twist and it won't actually work out because then your beginning and ending won't meet. This meets, when you bind it off, you just bind off this one long edge, which is a lot of stitches because it's twice around. But it's so cool. It's really fun. So the first thing you need to know is that you need a long circular needle. You need a 40-inch at least. And this is because, as you can see in this, the stitches are wound around twice, right? So they go around the cord. So the cord is here and around here. So you need it to be long enough so that the angle is still good for knitting after it's wound around twice. And just so you know, this always looks like it's really way too small. People have emailed me a million times saying oh my God, I'm doing this thing and it's way too small. And then you cast it off and it just explodes out and it's humongous. So don't worry, it's all just constricted by the fact that it's looped twice around. So you need your long needle like this. And like I said, I'll show you the regular Mobius cast on really quick before we do the two color. So with a regular Mobius cast on, you just make your slip knot and you stick this on your needle. And then what you want to do is wrap this needle around like this so that this other end of the needle is just hanging over here and you're holding the cord against the slip knot like this. And then basically all you are going to do is swivel this yarn in the back and yarn over. So you're going to yarn over inside the loop and above the loop, inside and above. And you're just going to swivel. So right now we're above and you're creating essentially just a figure eight cast on. So try to do it a little bit loose just because there's no real stitches holding it. It's just a figure eight. So I like to just kind of hold it like this and then hold the needle because then I can just sort of swivel, hold the cord, hold the yarn, swivel, 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 swivel. Anyway, so swivel it inside the loop, yarn over. Swivel it above the loop, yarn over. Swivel it inside the loop, yarn over. Up, above, yarn over. So that's a regular Mobius cast on. And it's very fast because you're not actually making stitches, you're just wrapping the yarn. Above, inside. So that's the regular one. There's more stuff, but that stuff is consistent with the two color cast on, so I'm just gonna continue now. So after doing all sorts of crazy things, I finally came up with. So now we have two colors. This is just for visibility. I didn't mean to do full-on Gryffindor colors or something, but I wanted you guys to be able to see the difference. So in the patterns, it'll say how many stitches total and how many pairs of stitches in my patterns. like I said, like I'm pretty sure I kind of came up with this, but I suppose I could be wrong. Somebody could have beaten me to it. And at that point, I won't know what other people's patterns say. So the same thing, you make the slip knot with the two colors together. You have the needle hanging over here and you hold the cord against the slip knot like this. And then you're still just going to do that swiveling action, but instead of just yarn overing, you're going to yarn over 1 and 2 and try to do them in the right order because you want them to kind of be every other. So right here, I'm starting with the red. See, I have the red and then the yellow. So when I do the swivel, I'm going to go in, sorry, it's better if you separate them, obviously. So sort of put your finger in between them so that you can grab which one you want. So again, we're above, we're going to swivel and go into the middle and then yarn over the red, yarn over the yellow. Swivel up, yarn over the red, yarn over the yellow. Oops. Swivel to the inside, yarn over the red, yarn over the yellow. Swivel above, yarn over the red, yarn over the yellow. And you're just going to keep doing this until you get to the number of stitches and the number of pairs that you need. Hey, get on there. Yarn over the red, yarn over the yellow. Swivel into the middle, yarn over the red, yarn over the middle. Swivel above, yarn over the red, yarn over the yellow. So I'm just gonna kind of do this fast now so that we can get to the next step. So the cool thing about this 2-color Mobius cast on is that you can use it for both brioche and double knitting, which is also really cool because double knitting also is reversible, and yet sometimes you don't see the other side, and sometimes the other side is just as spectacular as the quote-unquote right side. So it's really fun, but this video is for the brioche Mobius that I just released. I'll do another video about the double knitting because the setup row is a little different when you do it for double knitting. This part is exactly the same. So obviously I have not been counting, and it doesn't matter because it's just a sample. I just want to get enough on here so that it'll go around the needle. I'm probably almost there, actually. It's getting a little plumptious over there. Yeah, that's probably enough. Let's see. So then if you have done catboardies, you know that at this point, you're just going to sort of stretch these out and push the cord through. So you push the cord down in so that the needles are going to meet then. And just sort of space them out. Keep adjusting them a little bit so that like it'll be comfortable to knit up here, you know, that you're not struggling. I might not have put on quite enough stitches, but that is okay. Somehow my red is trying to switch even though I know you're first. Okay. So then the last little step before you start doing the setup row is that you want to sort of feel around here, and this cord has to cross one time only. So just make sure, see my cross is right here, I can feel it, and just make sure it doesn't cross again. I will say, like, in the Catboardy video, she is very specific about doing this. I have actually never had it not be like that, but it is good to double check, and it takes 2 seconds, so definitely double check. So now for the setup row, what you want to do is you're going to start your normal setup brioche, which is normally like knit 1, slip 1 yarn over, right? The yarn over slip. So we're going to knit 1. We're going to go with the red first. Sorry. Should have said that. The yellow will just hang out there. So knit 1. The setup row, I must warn you, is never that fun in Mobius. Nobody likes this row, but after that, it's amazing. It's great. And then the stitches are always presented either sort of in the front or the back. They tend to alternate, and I want you to slip them just as they are. So if it's in the front, slip like normal. So you do your yarn over slip. Your yarn is already right here. So there's your yarn over slip, right? I'll try to do it in throwing English knitting in a minute, though I'm not that good at doing brioche and English knitting, I confess. So now you see this stitch wants to be knit through the back loop because these lead legs are in the back. So you're going to knit it through the back loop. And then when you do the yarn over slip, you're going to go into the back like this and slip it off. So you've got your yarn over slip. You're going to knit one. These ones are in the front. So just knit one, put the yarn in the front, and do your yarn over slip. These ones are in the back. So you're going to knit one, and then do the slip through the back, just like that. Knit one, slip, and then in the back, knit one, yarn over slip. And I think I'm just gonna try to get around to the edge really quick. I really didn't cast on quite enough stitches, so it's a little bit of a struggle, but that's okay. So we'll just get around here. Oh, I forgot to place a marker too. Place a marker when you start. It's not a real thing, so I didn't think to place a marker because I'm not going to continue making this very Gryffindor Mobius cowl. I said I would do some English. I better do that. So you knit one. And then for brioche, I believe you put the yarn forward. And then you slip this one. And then you just go directly into knit. And as you go around to knit, that creates the yarn over. Okay, so then you put your yarn forward again, and a slip, and then go into knit. Okay, I'm gonna do like 2 more stitches and then I'm gonna go back to the way I like to knit. Okay, so put your yarn forward, slip one, go into knit. Yarn forward, slip one, go into knit. Okay. All right, so now I can go back to regular, right? that was enough for you throwing knitters. We have a video on continental knitting if you want to learn continental knitting and how I knit. And for brioche, I have to say it feels so much more rhythmic to me. Like I could brioche knit all day because when you just are flipping the yarn, it just doesn't feel like anything. It's very rhythmic and soothing. Also, like just a continental knitting plug, if you're doing a seed stitch or 1x1 ribbing, yeah, it's also really good for that. You know, it's much less fatiguing and it's much faster. So brioche seed stitch, 1x1 ribbing, 2x2 ribbing, definitely try to learn some continental knitting for that. Almost coming up to the slip knot. I will tell you that because this is a figure 8 cast on, sometimes it can just at the end sort of, you can lose some stitches and it's not a big deal. Like at the very beginning when we come around to this slip knot, if I had counted, you might want to count when you get to that point because everything is a little more stable at that point now that you've actually got some stitches instead of just the figure 8. So you might want to count because if you need an extra stitch, this is just a fantastic time to throw one in or to decrease one. You won't really see it at the join. You can just sort of weave the ends in and voila, it's gone. So now here we are back at the slip knot. So if I had put a marker in, it would be the marker would be right here. So yarn over slip. So that completes the first half of the row because a Mobius is just one long row that is twice around. I know it kind of breaks your brain a little, but it's really fun. So who cares? So at this point, you're just going to keep going with your setup row. So you're going to, knit, we're knitting. Knit one, slip one. This is the point, though, where if you want to count, you can count. You can also do it when you come back around to the marker. Just make sure if you're too many stitches or too few stitches that you add or subtract them sort of right there at the beginning. It's all fine. You know, things happen. Stitches disappear or they get added. it's all good. And actually, this is about it, because once you get around this big long row, you're set up for brioche. And you just grab the yellow and you start your yarn over slip, purl two together row. And that's it. It's amazing. And then you can just keep going forever and ever and ever. And we just released our sort of basic brioche Mobius cowl pattern, but I have at this point I think I have about 5 others to release in the coming weeks that have different stitch patterns or different sequences. One that combines double knitting and brioche, which is really cool, because whenever people come into the store and they say, "What is brioche? Isn't it bread?" I say, "Yes, it is, but it's also essentially kind of a textural double knit." And so I always kind of wanted to use those together and see what it would be like. And I did, and it's friggin' awesome. It's quite gorgeous, if I do say so myself. And that one used our hand dye Kraken, so it's extra cuddly and soft. But actually, I think, well, I'll go around so that you can see where you pick up the yellow, and then I think we will be done, because then you will just be brioching along. It's actually good that I didn't cast on this many stitches, because how long do you want to watch me knit this setup row? Imagine if I had cast on like 200 stitches on a Mobius. That's like 400 stitches you'd have to watch me do this to. You should notice after I should have mentioned that, you should notice after you come to the slip knot, after having done the first row, all the stitches at that point should orient to just be normal. You shouldn't have to knit them through the back loop or slip them through the back loop after that point. If you do, just do it. It's fine, you know. Sometimes things get twisty. It is a twisty technique after all. It's designed to have a twist. So Mobius, I think, is like really forgiving and just like such a no stress knit. So don't stress about it. Just, you know, go with it. Especially this one, because the stitch count doesn't even really matter. You know, just as long as you have a multiple of 2 for the brioche, you're golden. You know, you don't want to accidentally cast on 300. But, you know. So here you can see how the yarn just likes to fall off. So this yellow had been around here. It was over here. That was my last pair right there. This is the last thing I want to mention, actually. Whenever you're doing 2 colors or more in a Mobius, because you're going around with a twist, you always are going to have to put the other yarn through the loop. Every time. That it's not a mistake. So if that happened to you, don't think like, "Oh, I screwed it up." You didn't screw it up. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. You just put the ball through the loop and you're all set to go again. So right here, this little yellow is trying to fall off. So we're gonna knit this last one. This one is kind of wanting to not be attached to anything, and that's fine. And this one, see? Okay, so we're perfect. Okay, good. So my marker would be right here. The other thing just generally about knitting brioche in the round is that you're always gonna, every other row, you're gonna have a yarn over on this stitch. So you wanna make sure you anchor it so that it doesn't continually fall off and you end up accidentally decreasing or having the wrong stitch count. So just make sure you sort of anchor it by giving it a twist. And then you're gonna start the next row with a yarn over slip. So if you don't sort of give it a twist and anchor it there, all bets are off. And that's pretty much it. Like now we're on my markers here. Imagine the marker. And then you're gonna start your yarn over slip, purl 2 together. The slip knot is always a little tighter. Need to move these stitches a little bit too. So squish them around a little. After that first setup row, it's a lot easier. That first setup row is not that fun. Like, just settle in for like a few minutes of like not that fun for like hours and hours of like really soothing, awesome knitting. So we're yarn over slipping, purling two together. And that is the 2-color Mobius Cast On for brioche. Go grab the pattern. You guys are gonna love it. You're gonna want to make one for everybody you know this Christmas. And stay tuned for all the other patterns coming out for our brioche Mobius Cast On. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have questions. I think I hit all the bases, but who knows? And stay tuned for the next podcast. Thanks for watching. Bye.